guests. We have with us Sri G.S. Narasimha Prasad, sir, Managing Director, IPA, ICMAI. We have with us Sri Gyan Chandra Mishra, sir, Chairman, IBC Committee, ICAI. We have with us our speaker, Madam Pooja Bahry. We have with us President, AIIPA, Sri Manoj Kumar Anand, our own Chairman, CMA IP Shankar Panikar, sir. I welcome each and everyone present here on behalf of the Managing Committee of Kerala Insolvency Professional Forum. I would like to brief about the Kerala Insolvency Professional Forum. We are an association which has started in the year 2018, comprising all professionals to provide a learning platform to all. And our purpose is knowledge dissemination. Our mission statement, let me read the mission statement of our KIPF. To promote and support the professional activities of insolvency professionals who are members of KIPF by exploring professional opportunities, knowledge updating, academic activities, and matters of mutual help and benefit of members. To do handholding with regulatory authorities, governmental organizations, professional bodies, industry associations, and others for knowledge sharing and helping in creating a compliance ecosystem for the stakeholders of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Court 2016. With this, I would like to call our chairman, Mr. Advocate CMA IP Shankar Panikar, for his address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sean. Good evening to all of you, Mr. Prasad, Pooja ma'am, Mr. Gyan Sharma, and Manoj sir. Indeed, I'm extremely happy for being part of this initiative. When we thought about this, we normally pick up subjects based on the feedback from our group. Our group is a very, whenever new, as any other IP WhatsApp group, we used to deliberate on certain judgments. And to tell you about the background of this particular KIPF, we actually, in the past 4 or 5 years, we have been very regular in conducting meetings. And the last year also, we have partnered with certain banks so that we picked up best of the best speakers and deliberated a lot of issues. And we've got, in fact, positive, very, very positive response. So based on the feedback, we thought of taking up the subject. And my one and only choice was Madam, because she used to give me tremors during COVID days, talking about all these modifications. Every time I get to hear, attend her session, I'll end up losing 2 kilos of weight. Tension as to when will this thing get over. So Madam was so gracious to accept. And then came our Manoj sir. So there are certain people who, without any reservation, we can just sir, this topic and the way they have been researching. IBC was IBC was very gracious enough to co-partner with us. Then suddenly my good friend, younger brother, Pranab, bounced at us and then, why are you, sir? Why can't we do it together? I said, without wasting a second, I said, absolutely fine, because end of the day, for me, CMA Institute, being the past chairman of SIRC, it is very, very close to me. Whatever little I am is because of my institute. So I just could not, I didn't ask anyone, just said, I'm okay with that. So thank you so much, friends. We are going to create value. When it comes to IBC, CIRP forms, I always thought, why all these things are being repeated, maybe then I thought, okay, typically you want certain information, and whenever you need information, you prepare a format and get it downloaded. Uploaded from IP side and get downloaded from your side and come out with a, statistics. And IBBI website comes up with very elaborative statistics. So that could be the reason for the CIRP forms. So that could be the background for the CIRP forms. But then if you look at the existing system, that is existing CIRP 1 to 8, the entire CIRP forms, entire CIRP activities have been, cut into small pieces. Starting from public announcement, then public announcement to appointment of RP, then again to RFRP, then the IM, all those things. So that means so detailed they've been, they've been going. So probably the learnings would have, they would have got the learnings that, now that IPs are, with a lot of other trainings and other things could be, they are more equipped to take the, assignment more confidently. So that could be the reason. I don't know. And of course, the reduction of, duplication. I always feel duplication is an essence. And one thing, being a lawyer, I have always felt that something we should give feedback to IBBI. That is, the moment you file an application before the Honorable Adjudicating Authority, and authority reserve for orders, and you take another 2-3 weeks to get the order, we end up paying some fine to IBBI. All those things, poor IP probably do not get back the money. All those things we should take it up. There should be some via media to get out of this problem. So thank you so much. I'll not, because Pooja, when Madam is here, it is absolutely a nonsense, or it doesn't make any sense for me to dwell into the area, though I really want, to dive deep into this CIRP process as an IP. Now I'm into the litigation space. So be it as it may. Thank you so much, friends. I understand. I'm not sure whether Virat Kohli will hit 100, but our participant for your wonderful quick thinking. And I also recognize my members in the KIPF management committee, executive committee, and the members, of course, AIIPA. Narasimhan sir, this should be a habit. We should continue this habit of collaboration. We'll get you the best speakers, and with all of us, when we have our intentions very clear, only good things can happen to us. With that, I'll just wind up my thoughts. And Sean, can you take it forward to the next level? Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you very much, Shankar sir. Now let me call upon Shri G.S. Narasimha Prasad sir, Managing Director, IPA ICMA, for the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Christopher. Good afternoon to you all. It's very nice to be with you all today. Though we started discussing just 2 days ago about this event, that we could join in together, be a part of this, is a really nice thing. Thanks to you, Mr. Panikar and Mr. Christopher. Pooja ji, welcome and nice to see you. It was only last week that we had a roundtable in Delhi where Pooja ji explained in detail, along with 2 other speakers, on this discussion paper and the major features of it, and kind of the major change in the way these compliances can be seen. As we saw, we had a 3-hour program that day. It stretched beyond 3 hours, and then we had smiling faces at the end of it all. Most of the time, IPs are complaining. Complaints is the biggest pain. Let me not stretch that pain by itself. So there were a lot of smiling faces that day, and I'm almost sure that that will be the kind of a thing today also. I'm very happy to IPA ICMI is happy to be joining Mr. Panikar and Mr. Christopher in this venture, and then we look forward to partnering you with KIPF. I believe KIPF is a very active body, so we look forward to that. Manoj Anandji, nice to see you. Good afternoon. I also see IBC loss. I don't know if there is anybody here. I don't know anyone personally. I happy to be joining with you and the management committee and other committee members of KIPF. And I see a lot of known names among the participants today. I'm sure it will be a very active discussion forum. And you couldn't have chosen a better presenter than Pooja ji. If any of you don't know, she's a gold medalist in commerce from SRCC. She was, correct me, Pooja ji, she was the second lady IP to be registered with IBBI. Or first? Third. Okay. And she is, as Mr. Anand was mentioning earlier, before the formal session started, she is a trailblazer among the IPs. she has already made a mark, and without meaning to be solicitous, I may say IPA ICMI is proud of you, Pooja ji, and I am sure you'll continue the good work.
Thank you so much
And,
for your kind words. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm very, very much obliged.
Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Christopher. I'm sure we'll have a good session today.
Thank you very much, sir. Prasad, sir. Now let me invite Sri Gyan Chandra Mishra, sir, Chairman of IBC Committee of ICA, for the felicitation. I think Mishra sir is facing some connection issue. I think, shall I move on?
Yeah, you
Shankar,
can
sir?
move on.
Right. Let me call Sri Manoj Kumar Anand, sir, President of AIIPA, for the felicitation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to facilitate with such a esteemed gathering. I'm really happy that we have a summation of South and North right now. Mr. Gyans was invited by me with the purpose that let me be very specific and to the point so that I should not eat up Pooja's time, for which everybody is very eager to listen. First thing is that as representing a huge IP community, I just give you 2 or 3 reminders. 23rd is the last day for filing of your IBBI form, जो आप registration for IP and IRP, RP and liquidator के लिए करते हैं, तो whosoever is eligible, subject to holding AFA till 31st of December 2024, he will be eligible. So just a reminder for that. Second, food for thought to Mr. Sankar, that CIRP regulation on 19th of June have already come. Mr. Ashish Mukhija has already called me up. He said, Manoj, would like to have a session with you on that thing there. So definitely we shall may have a joint session with you also in the days to come. And I think for this particular, what happened, what our experience has been in the past, that IP brothers do listen a lot, but when the question of giving suggestions to the IBBI comes out to be there, they little bit become lazy and doesn't do it. I think 30th is the last day. But that what procedure we generally adopt to be most effective is that what suggestions we are having as from our IPA side. We discussed that in our governing body. And after discussion, we prepared a paper and already given to Pooja ji so that she can incorporate those suggestions as per her wisdom in her deliberations. And I would request Pooja ji that at the end of this webinar, you prepare the suggestions which you must have added and culminated with all the webinars which you have hold on till date. With managing committee people, and those suggestions we shall at least from IPA side, I assure you, I shall share those suggestions on behalf of our association to all our IP members, and with the request that they should submit it online to the IBBI definitely before 30th. I think 30th is the last day. Another request I would like to make to the IBC law is that we people are not so rich. Not many rich IPs are coming on this platform. You have your case laws. Is something very, very good. You give some special concession to we organizers who are inviting you regularly on our platforms, like IPA members of IPA, like members of KIPF. For your subscription. So if somebody from the IBC law is there, let them come out with a reasonably good offer, which we shall circulate among our members and later on do for that. Another thing, as Mr. Sankar was saying, we people are working a lot in northern India, Delhi, Chandigarh. But I got some 2 assignments for Bangalore also. I was really upset with the working of the history of the Bangalore NCLT. Maybe I don't, you people be working a lot in Bangalore history. What your experience is, it requires a lot of improvement, because since we are handling assignments on all over India basis, but I found in Bangalore history a lot of glitches are there which need to be plugged into. As far as these forms are concerned, for which my sister Pooja will be taking care of everything. We have mainly suggested that we file our urine form also in our CA institute. Generally, what happens is that most of the work is done by our office team only. Here we have with the digital signatures, for uploading of the form at the end of the uploading, number one, or we go with the Aadhaar number. And many a times both these sites doesn't work properly. And it takes a lot of pain in, putting your energy for this unproductive work. But that our suggestion is to the IBBI is that the way we have for UDIN that OTP do come out at two places, one at our telephone number, another at our email. And when our team members can have access to at least to our email account, so then they can easily and readily able to do it. Along with that, we have also given 4 or 5 suggestions, which Pooja ji will take care also. I won't repeat it therein. With this note, I conclude myself. Thank you very much to Mr. Sankar. Thank you very much to Mr. Sean. Thank you very much to Mr. Narsimha and officials of IBC Law. Thanks a lot. Welcome, Pooja ji. Please start your deliberation. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj Kumar Answer. Normally, 4 o'clock is the time when you have the tea, right? We make a small break and we just try to slow down ourselves. And by the talk of Anand sir, he tried to enlighten us, ensure that next 2 hours you are in a very hot seat and ensure you learn very much. By this, I would like to introduce the speaker for the day, IP Pooja Bahry Madam. She has more than 22 years of unblemished specialized experience and strategic advantage in stress asset management, resolution and restructuring of non-performing assets, and also has a very good experience in management of running units or management of corporate debt as a going concern, sale, auction of assets, and other allied activities. She's one of the panel. Is on the panel of one of the most of the banks and financial institutions as an insolvency professional under IBC. She regularly acts as a faculty on behalf of IBBI, various IPAs, government authorities, MCA, taxation authorities, and so on. In fact, various landmark jurisprudence have been formed in case being handled by her under IBC, especially with reference to contributions received under preferential transactions, regarding fraudulent transactions, regarding applicability of capital gain tax during liquidation. By this, I waste no time introducing and welcoming Madam.
Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you everyone for the very kind words. And I look forward to a session. In fact, this is very, very closely held. This is something which is very close to my heart because we have been trying as an insolvency professional to ensure that we are reducing the compliances and the complications actually which have been faced by insolvency professionals. And IBBI has taken an extremely positive step in this regard. So I have drafted a presentation where I'll make you go through what was the aim of this discussion paper. I was lucky enough to be a part of the study group, and as a part of a member of the study group, we had given a lot of suggestions to IBBI that how can the compliances be reduced. And I'm very happy to inform you that most of the suggestions which we had given to IBBI have been taken in cognizance of. So we did try to explain the pains as an insolvency professional. Two major pains which we are actually facing. One is with reference to compliances, and second is with the reference to the pressure of the deadlines. And something very important which we tried to tell IBBI was that yes, there have been issues with reference to dual reporting, because we've been doing a lot of reporting to IBBI and similarly to our IPAs also. So every month we're giving monthly reports to our IPAs also. Filling various forms with IBBI, and genuine constraints which an insolvency professional face is something which we tried to highlight in the study report which was submitted. We did, mention the fact that compliances were becoming so cumbersome and so complicated, and in fact also more than time consuming. We ended up paying a lot of fees. There were cases where maybe the IRP did not complete the compliances. When the RP wanted to complete the same, we had to pay the fees. Whenever we wanted to modify a form or update the details, we needed to pay the fees. So all the issues, wherein we suggested to IBBI that there should be autofillers in the forms. There should be an option to upgrade the information which we've submitted, modify the information which we've submitted. We also explained regarding the date of the order. Sometimes the order in a particular matter is updated in a very detail, after a certain period of time, and the receipt of an order was, was delaying the compliances, due to which there were issues which the IP faced. So all those issues in detail we submitted to IBBI, and I'm very happy to say that IBBI has actually, has taken cognizance of that. And let's go, in detail on the discussion paper. So primarily, this discussion paper has the aim is to reduce the cumbersome compliances, which as an insolvency professional, which we have to, do on a very, very regular basis. And this discussion paper was taken out on the 10th of June of this year, 2024. And by this discussion paper, by the reduction of the compliances, IBBI has proposed to streamline and reduce the number of the CIRP forms which are filed by an IP, primarily by merging some forms, by dropping some forms altogether, and by revamping certain number of forms. So currently, right now, there are 9 CIRP forms to which we have to fill to IBBI. And the problem was that they are linked to different events, that some have been linked to the CIRP commencement date, some to the public announcement, some to the appointment of the RP, etc., some to the issue of the IM. And then we had, as an IP, needed to remember each and every date when we had to fill that particular form. So the key changes which have been proposed, first is a genuine reduction in the duplication and the simplifying of reporting. So a reporting which we were doing to our IPA and also doing to IBBI. So now there is just one form which will need to be filled, which we will have to go and fill on the IBBI portal, and the IPA will automatically get that information. Secondly, there would be, it is proposing to centralize the reporting on the IBBI website and revamp of the entire forms and the contents of the same. So when you see the basic aim of the proposed changes are firstly to signify and reduce the compliance burden on the insolvency professionals, number one. Then also that will also ensure that IBBI receives the relevant data and the timely information for effective monitoring of the CIRP. Yes, the monitoring will continue to be done, but only, with the data, and there will not be any duplication of the information which we are actually going to be providing. So a lot of compliance requirements are proposed to be consolidated. And, if you remember, whenever you appointed a professional, whenever there was a cost disclosure, relationship disclosure, we had to separately go and fill in the IPA portal. Now everything is proposed to be having a centralized IBBI platform, and it will primarily be a single window interface for all insolvency professionals so that they can fulfill their reporting requirements. So now under this new system, now the existing method which is there of the filing forms will be streamlined. Firstly, there were 2 forms, there was one form IP1, which was at a pre-assignment stage, and there was another form CIRP6. So every time there was maybe an avoidance transaction, an extension, exclusion. So within a particular time period, you had to fill the CIRP6 form. Now, both those forms will be eliminated, and that will definitely reduce the paperwork, of our professionals. And also now a monthly reporting system is introduced. Yes, we are doing monthly reporting, but we are doing it with IBBI and IPA both. So now this monthly reporting will only require the RPs to submit a status update by the 10th of every month. So now it is not it's not that you've made a public announcement, so in 3 days you need to fill a form, or now you have issued the IM within 3 days, or within 7 days you have to fill a form. No. So now all those will be by the 10th of every month. So if you are completing in compliance in a particular month, then by the 10th of the next month is when you're going to have to just update a form, which we'll go into in detail. What are the forms, what are the changes, what are the amendments? We'll do that in detail. So now the idea basically behind these proposed changes, firstly, like I said, is of course to avoid duplication. And of course, also secondly, to move to a monthly compliance framework. So now whatever you have done in a particular month will have to be filed with IBBI by the 10th of the subsequent month. So yes, we did try to highlight to IBBI that yes, CIRP itself is a very, very tiresome process, and there are some stringent timelines, and compliances had become so cumbersome that I do know that a lot of insolvency professionals were actually leaving the profession because of the innumerable compliances which had to be done. And unfortunately, a lot of penalties and fines for not submitting the forms in a timely manner was a problem. So yes, reducing these compliances is of course a very, very welcome move by IBBI, and something which our work will definitely reduce to a large extent. Now, IBBI has highlighted that firstly, the amount of information would be reduced, the amount of data which we actually have to provide will be reduced, and there will be a special emphasis on removing duplication and the monthly reporting. Also, the deadlines to give particular information. So when you've adjusted the compliance deadlines, it will reduce the pressure and the frequent overlapping of the information and of the dates. Like as an IP, like if you know, if a particular you haven't been able to complete a particular step in a month, there was a CIRP 7 which needed to be filed within 30 days. So if you are handling a number of cases, so the dates which you needed to remember for submitting the CIRP 7 was different. So I myself have put in a lot of reminders that, for this particular matter, the CIRP 7 is to be filled within this time period, else there will be, penalties and fines, etc., etc. So now the entire compliance process has been simplified by combining, various reporting on the IPA and the IBBI website into a single centralized IBBI website, eliminating duplication and making it easier for the stakeholders to access and to use. So now the dates, initially the dates were, of course, like I said, were on different dates for an IP handling the CIRP assignments. Now there is a monthly compliance by the 10th of every month. So as you can see on your screen is what were the actual forms which we needed to, file. So there's an IP1 which needed to be filled, within 3 days of you giving a consent. Then CIRP1 again within 7 days from, their public announcement. CIRP2 from the 7 days of, till the replacement of the IRP. Then your CIRP3 was till the IM within 7 days. Then again, CIRP4 by within 7 days of the RFRP. Similarly, the CIRP 5, 6, 7, 8. So these were the existing reporting requirements which needed to be given to IBBI. Also, besides to IBBI, there was a separate reporting also which was being done. So anytime an order you needed to be passed, you had to provide that to IBBI, and it was recurring. And immediately you had to provide that information to IBBI. Then again, you had to go to your portal on IBBI. And then once your public announcement is made, your invitation of EOI is made, your claims are done, your SCC meetings, your POFE data, your CIRP 6 and 8. So all this were the separate existing requirements of reporting which needed to be done earlier to IBBI. Besides this, to your IP, as you can see on your screen, so your public announcement had to be informed, your relationship disclosures had to be they were recurring within 3 days of actually, if you constituted the COC within 3 days of raising interim finance and supplying the IM on appointment of the IRP-RP, then again, your fee disclosures, cost disclosures, monthly reporting, so all this is the existing reporting which you're giving to IPA. So now what you can see on your screen are the proposed changes which have been, thought of by IBBI in the fall. Now your IP1, which is now, which initially had to be every time you gave a consent, you had to fill that IP1. So now that is proposed to be dropped. Your CIRP1 and your CIRP2 have been proposed to merge into one form called the CP1. Your CIRP 3 and 4 have been proposed to be merged to one form again, which is CP2. Your CIRP 5 is divided into two forms. So that is basically, capturing firstly the details of the application which you file either for the approval of the plan or your liquidation or closure. And CIRP 3B is when actually the orders come for that approval of that resolution plan or the liquidation or closure. So this CIRP 5 is now divided into two parts. The CIRP 6 is now proposed to be dropped. The CIRP 7 is also not required to be filed now. Now there is a monthly one form of CP5, which is a very simple form with very minimum fields, which have to be submitted by the end of every month. And they will also provide the status if there is any delay. Everything is included in that form itself. And the CIRP 8, there was a form which you had to fill when you are, this is for the avoidance, when you're forming an opinion, when you're doing the determination, when you're filing the application. So now that is revamped into one form called the CP4. So we'll do each and every one of these forms, bit by bit, one of them. So first one, which you can see on your screen, this IP1, which had to be given within 3 days when you gave a consent. Now this is no more there. As you can see, this is proposed to be dropped. Again, what you can see on your screen is the CIRP 6 is also proposed to be dropped. That will not have to be filed anymore. So you won't have to file the form when you are filing the CIRP 6 for either for the avoidance or the extension or the premature closure, your commencement or your request for liquidation before completion of CIRP. So all these forms will not need it to be filed right now. So they will all come in one CP5 form, which we'll be doing henceforth. What you can see on your screen were the two earlier forms which we needed to fill. That was a CIRP1 and a CIRP2. So the CIRP1 was till you made your public announcement. Your CIRP2 was till you actually, till your RP was replaced. Now, instead of both these forms, there would be only one form, which is the CP1. So that has to be filed after your report of your COC constitution is filed in the NCLT. So the CP1 will need to be filed only once the report of the COC constitution is filed. The last time when I did this session, in the end, there were some queries which were raised in the discussion groups which we'd had earlier. So that is something which I'll take up in the end. First, I'll just like to take up what does the discussion paper say. Then I'll take up that what were the opinion which we got in my last round, which we had at the IP of ICAI. So what were the feedback which was received? And then we'll do the feedback which has come from IPA also. And then thereafter, if there is anything additional you want to add, we will do the needful. But right now, firstly, I'm trying to concentrate on what has been written in the paper, and then what all changes can additionally be made, we'll discuss in the end. So this CP1 is to be filed after your report of your COC constitution is filed. Similarly, as you can see on your screen right now, there were two forms, two very detailed forms, CIRP 3 and 4, which will not have to be filed. Now they have been combined into one form, that is the CP2 form. Now this will have to be filed after you have issued your RFRP. So earlier, when you would have issued your IM, you had to fill your CIRP 3, and if you'd after your RFRP, you had to fill CIRP 4. Now both of them have been combined into one form called the CP2 form. This has to be filed after you have issued the RFRP. So we will do all of them in detail what they say, but this is just a synopsis of what were the existing forms and what you have to file right now. Again, there was this very detailed form of the CIRP 5, which we had to file earlier. So that was till you completed the CIRP, from the issue of the RFRP till the completion of the CIRP. Now there are two forms. This CIRP 5 has been broken into two forms. One is the CP3A and CP3B. Now, primarily, they are called A and B because they are referring to the same, the same stage. Because the CP3A is when you have filed, after you file an application for either a resolution plan approval, or if you file an application for liquidation, or if you file an application for closure. Then you fill your CP3A. And when the orders of the same are passed, so when the orders are passed for the resolution plan or for liquidation or for closure, then it is like a continuation of your CP3A. And then you just have to basically fill in the details that these are the orders which have actually been passed in the application which I had filed for the plan approval or the liquidation or the closure. So your CP3A and 3B are primarily at the same stage, but CP3B is when you actually the orders are passed by the adjudicating authority for this particular application. what again you can see on your screen is there was a form, in fact, every month, which you needed to file, which was a CIRP 7. So if you hadn't made a public announcement, or if the RP hadn't been appointed, or your IM had not been issued within 92 days, or your RFRP had not been issued by a specific time period, or your CIRP was not completed. So every month you had to file the CIRP 7. So what you can see on your screen, so that is something which doesn't need to be filed right now. Now that CP5 is very simplified form. It is with very minimum fields, which have to be updated every month. So that's something when I come to it. So once you have filled the details initially, so there will be a lot of autofillers. There will be autofillers, and you will have the option to edit the information which you have already filled in. So I think by the end of the month, like we used to be maybe making hundreds of pages of MIS, or to our MIS, to our IP or IBBI, that will not have to be done. So all we need to do is basically upload the information which which we already have done in that month. If you had a meeting in that month, all you need to is upload the minutes, so that's something we'll come to later. So primarily the CIRP 7 form does not have to be filled anymore, and it's revamped into the CP5. Again, on your screen, you can see when we had to file an application for avoidance. So when we made an opinion where we did a determination, we had to fill a CIRP 8 separately. And when we actually filed the application, we had to fill a CIRP 6. So now that CIRP 8 form doesn't need to be filed. Now it has been revamped into one form, which is CP4, which is only to capture the details of the avoidance which you've actually filed. So you do not really have to mention that when you made your opinion, when you did the determination. So now when you actually file the application for avoidance with the NCLT, that is when you will have to fill the CP4 form. And there's a final one. There is one form which is CP5, which is a monthly reporting, which will go ahead. So basically, the proposal which has been made, which in this, that currently the timelines. The problem was that the various forms were linked to different events, and now which led to due dates for filing forms on very, very different dates. So which was making it very cumbersome for the IPs. So that's why a monthly compliance reporting framework has been thought about, wherein the IP will report the status and the progress of the CIRP as on the last date, what was there, by the 10th date of the following month, except only there's one form which you have to fill when the orders are passed, which is CP3B. So because that's when the orders are passed within 7 days of the same. So, but one thing we need to remember, the timelines which are given in the code and regulations have not changed. So what work we have to do as an IP, we will have to do within the timelines. So the timelines for carrying out the various activities will remain unchanged. Only the reporting that when you have actually done that particular activity, that is something which will be streamlined. And the aim is basically to minimize duplicate submissions, to auto-populate fields. That is very important. So from the existing data which you've already filled in, so that is not something which as an IP we will have to fill again and again. So all that will be auto-populated to the extent which is possible. And only the information relevant to the stage of the CIRP at that point of time will have to be filled in by the IP. And the entire compliance process we are hoping to streamline the entire process. And it will, of course, reduce the time and effort required for compliances by the IPs. And also your cost and relationship disclosure. So as you know that, different portals were managed by IPAs, and now everything is going to move to a singular platform provided at the IBBI website. And there will be a strategic consolidation, which will simplify the compliance process and also enhance the accessibility and oversight, and a smoother regulatory compliances will be there. So now let's actually come to the discussion paper, that what are the forms which we need to fill. So on your screen, you can see is the first form, which is the CP1. Now, the due date of this form is, again, like I said, all you need to remember is by the 10th of the month, succeeding the month in which you have constituted your COC. So once you have filed your report certifying the constitution of the COC, the 10th of the next month is when you have to fill this form. So basic details are there. So when you have filed your report, now all this information, what you can see on your screen is about the corporate debtor, its name, PAN, address. So most of the things that you can see on your screen would be auto-populated and editable. Now, this was a very, very important aspect that sometimes information used to come auto information, but we did not have the option to change that information even if it was incorrect. But now we are going to have the option to change it. So that is two very important things in the CP forms which will be there, that yes, to the extent information is available, they will be auto-populated. And also if we need to, if we want to change any information, they will also be editable. So the first thing is just basic details, whether it's a going concern, whether any proceedings are, are there in the SIC industrial unit. So one thing is there that yes, this option is, I think, point number 12 and point number 13, which is whether about winding up, and SICA is something that's information which we as an IP may not have. So we should have the option of writing, that we don't have available. So this is something which in the last discussion, last round table we had. So this question came up. In the CP form, primarily you are filling just the details of the name, the address, the sector, who are the promoters, whether it's a going concern or not. Then your details, which will anyways be mostly auto-populated. Thirdly, is the most important, that when was it actually admitted, and date of admission. And another important aspect is date of receipt of the order by the IRP. So that is a very important aspect. Earlier, we never had the option to inform IBBI that we did not get the order of the initiation by a particular date. So now I think the NCLT has also made a system of sending emails to the IPs, to the relevant people, that when an order is actually uploaded. So once it's uploaded, so that is something which you can mention, that what is the date of receipt of the order. So the basic details need to be filled in, that what was the date of the order, what is the amount of underlying default, and whether the default is outstanding. So this is the basic form, about who is the IP, what is the date of the order admitting the particular application. Then you just put in your details of the public announcement. So which paper you made the publication, what was the date of the publication, and if there's any delay, why is the delay. Then last date of submission of claims, again, it is an auto-populated editable field. Then for the class of creditors, then the name of the authorized ARs for each class, and who are the IPs who have been identified to be selected as an AR in a class. Then this is the information about the public announcement. Next information is very simple about the process status, whether it is a listed corporate debtor, yes or no, whether IRP is taken into custody all records and assets, yes or no. If no, if you made the application of 19.2, if no, specify the reasons. That's it. So it's nothing in detail which needs to be filled. And then there are just attachments which you want to submit. So if any documents, if you want with a brief description against each document, if you want to provide to IBBI, you can just upload that document along with maybe a one-liner document description, what you have uploaded. And this is it. So instead of the CIRP1 and CIRP2, this is one CP1 form which you need to fill, which you can see on your screen. Most of the data is very basic data about who is the corporate debtor, who is the IP, when did the application actually got admitted, then is when did you make the public announcement, and of course in AR cases, who is the AR who's been selected, what is the whether you've taken into custody the records and assets, whether it's listed, and that's it. And whatever documents you need to attach, you can just attach with a brief description, and there is no compulsion that these are the 5 things you need to attach or the 10 things you need to attach. So this is depending on you as an insolvency professional, what information you want to provide to IBBI, what information you want to provide to IPA, because I think as an IP, it is very important for us also to ensure that we provide the correct data to them. So, and that is something I think we also feel safer, that there are certain, decisions as an IP, RP, liquidator, which we are taking. And when we are informing IBBI and IPA regarding those decisions, it's something which we have informed. So this is a very open-ended attachment documents, which you can just provide. So this is it. So instead of the CIRP 1 and 2, this is the first form which you have to file. Second form is the CP2. Now, this is in place of the CIRP 3 and 4. This is to be filed when your RFRP is issued. So if your RFRP is issued in a particular month, then by the 10th of the next month, you will have to file this CP2 form. This will start from the date of the issue of the RFRP. Again, the details first is who's the corporate debtor. That is something, most of it will anyways be auto-populated. So your information is your SIN, name of the corporate debtor, PAN is something which is already there. Then you are going to be informing in this form that how have you appointed as the registered valuers. So in place of you also filling in the disclosure that these are the values I've appointed. There's an IPA disclosure you had to give. Now, this is something, the information will be over here only. In this, an IPA will automatically extract the information which you have given in these CP forms, and the IPA will automatically get that information. So the appointment of registered values is something which is supposed to, the details is supposed to inform. Then is about the IM. Now, the details of the IM need not be submitted. You just have to say what date you submitted the IM to the COC. If there was a delay, then why? Then do you have the audited balance sheet? What is the last audited balance sheet you have? Whether CDs and MSME, whether the IM contains all the details as per the requirements. If not, then you mention these are the details which have not been provided. So this is the only information which you have with reference to the IM, which you actually need to provide. Then next is the information with reference to the PRAs, that who were the provisional, what date did you issue the provisional list? What date did you issue the final list of the PRAs? And who are the PRAs? And that is just their name, whether they were eligible, yes and no. So that is about it all. So primarily, all the information which you are giving is that when did you issue the provisional list? When did you issue the final list? And who were the list of the PRAs? Further, then you have the RFRP. Again, you are not giving any details about the RFRP. All you're doing is giving what was the last date of submission of the resolution plans and whether the RFRP requires any non-refundable deposit or not. Then you come to the attachments. Now, in the attachments, all you do is you attach the IM, you attach the RFRP and any other documents if you want to attach with a brief description. So it is open information, which is, open platform actually, which has been given to us, that we are giving just the basic details about what was the IM. We are giving basic details, who were the values appointed, and when did you actually submit the IM to the COC. Then you give the details of who were the PRAs. Then you give the details of when did you actually issue the RFRP. That's already there in the form, and what is the last date of submission of plans. And that's it. And then you make the attachments where you attach the IM and you attach the RFRP. So instead of a very, very detailed CIRP 3 and a very detailed CIRP 4, so we have this form, which is a CP2. So this is it. So this is the CP2 form, which needs to be filed. So till you actually till you get the actual plans. So this is the CP2 which needs to be filed. Now, then we come to the CP3A. Now, instead of the CIRP 5 form, now this is, like I said, been divided into two. One is the CP3A, that is regarding when you have actually filed the application for approval of the plan or the liquidation. So by the 10th of the month succeeding the month in which you file the application. So if you have filed an application, let's say on the 7th of this month, so the form which you have to fill is by the 10th of the next month. So it is not a lot of information that immediately, I've filed the application within 3 days, I have to file the form, or within 7 days, I have to file the form. So we are getting a lot of time to actually fill this form. And there are not many details which need to be filled right now. So which is, a very, very good thing. Then from the date of, now the CP3A is again from the date of the submission of the application, and you've actually submitted it for the plan approval, for the liquidation, or for the closure process. So there are different sections in this. So section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you file an application for resolution, then there is a particular section. If you file an application for liquidation, there's another section. If you file another application for closure, then that's another section. So only the relevant section will open. So the section 1 is the basic. Again, like I said, the name, PAN, SIN, which is anyways will be auto-populated and editable. In this first section, all you are giving is basically a synopsis of details of the claim, that what were the principal amount, the other amount, and what is your total admitted claims. So primarily the details of the admitted claims are something which needs to be included. And then it is a drop down. From the drop down, you see whether you are actually filing an application for approval of a plan, where you're filing an application for initiation of liquidation, or you're filing an application for closure. So it's a drop-down list. So the respective section will open. So if you choose, resolution plan file, so your section 2 will open. If you choose liquidation file, your section 3 will open. If you choose your closures, then the fourth the fourth section will open. So basically, you are just giving the initial, what are the details of the claims admitted? Then from a drop down, you see what form needs to be filled. So if this is the section 2, if you actually file an application for approval of the plan, basic details is all you are providing, that for the final resolution applicant, that how many compliant plans were received and considered by the COC. So basically, whether it was an individual, what was their name, whether it was approved, yes or no, whether promoter, related party, yes or no. That's about it all. So for your final resolution applicant, that's the only thing which you're actually mentioning, and the date of the COC when you actually approve the plan. So this is the sum total of the information you're giving about the resolution plan. Then you're giving who were the members of the COC and what was their voting share and whether they assented, dissented, or abstained. So these are the basic details you fill in. Then you need to fill the details about the resolution plan. That is something that what was the amount claimed, what was admitted, and what is the amount realizable. So that is about your CIRP costs, what your secured creditors are getting, how much unsecured operational government. So this is a basic synopsis which you anyways would have when you have filed the application for approval of the plan. So that is an information that you have to give here. Then you have to inform whether any interest of any existing shareholders, how many shares they had earlier, how many they'll have later. When did you fill the form H? Plan is contingent, yes or no. Whether any monitoring committee has been recommended, yes or no. Whether the RP is part of the monitoring committee, yes or no. If details yes, then what would be your fees fixed by the COC or the AA? If no, then who will be the nodal individual from SRA who will be implementing the plan? And if there is any other details of infusion of equity, bank guarantee, all these details, other details, yes. So all these details you can see detail has been asked. So most of the information is something which you can fill in maybe 5 or 10 minutes when you've actually filed the application for approval of the plan. So this is it. This is the only section 2 if you have to file, if you have actually filed an application for a resolution plan approval. Then you come to the liquidation. Now in liquidation, if you have filed a form, if you've applied for liquidation, then details in just the information is why did you file the application for liquidation? I mean, there could be reasons about no valuable assets, no plan was received. You can elaborate the reason. What was the meeting of the COC which passed the resolution for liquidation? And how much voted how much COC members voted for the same? Then simple yes or no. Whether COCs approved the plan for contribution under section or regulation 39B, yes or no. If yes, then what are the costs? Then again, if COCs recommended sale as a going concern under regulation 39C, again, it's a yes or no. And whether they have recommended as a going concern or the business of the corporate debt as a going concern. Again, has COC fixed the fees payable to the liquidator? That's Regulation 39D, again, it's a yes and no answer. That's it. So this is the only detail of the information which you actually have to file in the application for the liquidation. Again, similar small information if you file an application for closure, that what was the terms of the withdrawal, whether that application has been filed before or after constitution of COC, who all distributed, who the voting share, who actually approved the same, what is the, then is this is it. This is the complete form, which is for closure. So as you can see on your screen, so the CP3A is, it seems very long when you see in the discussion paper, but it is divided into separate sections and all sections are not applicable. So wherein your basic, after your basic details, if you file an application of approval, there are some limited information which needs to be filed. If you file an application for liquidation, again, very limited information which you need to file. And if you file an application for closure, this is the limited information which you need to file. And then there is some common information, which is for all the sections, which is about what is the average liquidation value, what is the average fair value, and whether about avoidance transactions. Have you formed an opinion if there is any delay? If you've done the determination, what is the value determined of the avoidance transactions? And common information is about how many employees were there at the beginning of the CIRP period and how many on the date of filing of the form. If you raised any interim finance, and this is it. So this is your CP3A, which you have to file and make the relevant attachments. Your attachments is the copy of your application which you filed for approval of the plan or for liquidation or for closure. You will attach the copy of the minutes where these resolutions have been passed. You will attach your compliance certificate, and if any other documents, if you need to attach like a progress report, etc. So you can attach in the CP3A. So this is what entire CP3A which has been, which needs to be filled when you file the application. And after you've got the orders, after the approval of the resolution plan or the liquidation orders or the closure has been done, then you fill this simple CP3B form, which is just date, is primarily giving what is the date of the approval which has been given by the NCLT. What are the details of whether it was a resolution plan, liquidation, or process closure? Two things which you need to add extra is whether the plan which is approved by the COC was the same one which is approved by the NCLT. And if it is no, then what are the changes which have to be made? And in liquidation, whether, what was the details of the liquidation, why was it filed? And you will just submit this information. So this is primarily, this is the only form which is with reference to within 7 days of the order. So this CP3P is the only form which has to be filed within 7 days of actually the approval of the plan or the liquidation or the process closure order which has been passed. Though it is not a very detailed form because all the details you've already given in CP3A. So when the order comes, you just basically have to give, this is the date of the approval of the resolution plan or the liquidation. So again, this is has reduced the burden to a very, very large extent. So, and all you do is you copy you will attach the copy of the plan order, you will copy of the order approving the plan or the liquidation, and this is it. So these are the only, this is the only information which you really need to give in the CP3B form. Besides this, there is a CP4 form. So this primarily is including the CIRP 8 and the CIRP 6. Now, earlier we had to fill a CIRP 8 when we actually made the opinion or determined, or whether at that particular point of time, there was an order passed. So there was a CIRP 8 form which needed to be filed. Now there is just a CP4. So you do not need to fill a separate CIRP 6, not a separate CIRP 8. The only form which you need to fill is the CP4 form, which is your form at the time of avoidance. And that is when you have actually filed the application for avoidance for your POOFA transaction. So this is again, like I said, this is by the 10th of the month succeeding the month in which you filed the application. So we have enough time to actually fill this particular form. In this form, most of the details are auto-populated, editable, whether it comes to the details of the IP or the details of the corporate debtor. But now there is these are the detailed information which has to be filled which is about who were the parties to the transaction, what is their relationship, the nature of the preferential. So the fact of the matter is, in the last discussion roundtable which I had, so it was said that, we will be making a presentation, the IPA will also be making a presentation, that maybe this much information regarding avoidance is not required to be given, and only if the total amounts, if it is a possibility, is something which can be provided further to IBBI, that would be even more beneficial. So the basic details in this form is firstly, primarily, that when did you file the application? If was there a delay, and what is the transaction value reported? And also, the additional fields will you only update once the orders are passed. So when the orders are passed, the same things you will file, that for how much is the order passed, who were the parties, what was the date of the transaction, whether this amount has been, what has been the decision of the NCLT, whether it has been accepted or rejected, or others, please specify. So this, in this CP form is, on all these forms, please remember, are editable, modifiable. So if we fill the form in a month, it is not that if we have some additional information, we can fill it in the next month. So that is what I get to know by reading this discussion paper. So when the avoidance is actually adjudicated, so those additional fields will have to be the details, that whether did the NCLT accept the prayer, or they rejected it, or others, please specify. And in this form, you just have to make the attachments about, you'll be attaching a copy of the audit report, the application which you filed, the order which has been passed, and any other document which you may feel you want to fill. These were the 4 forms which have now come instead of the CIRP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now comes to a monthly reporting. Now, this is an important form. It is not all that detailed as it seems to be, but this is the only form which on a monthly basis you have to update. So let's come to what this is. This is again 10th of the month. Of what you've done in the month, from the 10th, the next month is something which you're going to have to submit to IBBI. So first section is wherein, and most of it is a drop down, whether it is a yes or a no. So whether there is a stay of the CIRP by any court, it's yes or no. And if it is a yes, then which is the name of the court and what is the order of the date, and you can attach the copy of the order. This is the first thing. Then you come to the second section. The second section is the current CIRP stage. So this is primarily, so the details of the activities which have already been completed in your previous reports. Please remember, this is important. That will be auto-populated, and we will also have the ability to edit if we have given any incorrect information. So any new activities only which you complete in a particular month is something you're going to have to provide to IBBI. So which you have maybe given in your previous month, which you've already provided, they will anyways be auto-populated, and only new activity which you have done in that month is something which you will have to update or upload. So, and all these are radio buttons, that whether you've done your public announcement, your report of COCs filed, your IM submitted, your expression of interest EO is invited, RFRP issued, plan submitted, plan approved, application for liquidation process submitted. So all these are radio buttons. All you need to is click that what is the stage of the CIRP where you are currently. So this is your current CIRP stage. And this is it. So this is a section 2. Then you come to the section 3. In the stage, what you are, so you just have to basically, if you issued a public announcement, what was the date? So this is auto-populated also if you've already given that information earlier, and it is editable. So what is the date if you've certified a constitution of COC? What is the date where your IM you've submitted to your COC? Your EOI, what was the date? How many EOIs you received? Your RFRP, when did you issue? How many plans were submitted? So most of these details are auto-populated and they are editable. And these are in brief, as you can see. So what was the what was the date of approval of the COC when your plan was actually approved? Attach the minutes. What has been a total CIRP cost till the COC approval? Then when you submitted a resolution plan to NCLT, the filing number, the next hearing. So see, all you're doing is usually like what we were doing is if you were writing detailed mails to IBBI, that this is what happened on the last date. And, I mean, I think my MISs went into hundreds of pages. So by the end of it, now all you need to do is say, what is the next hearing date? So in a month, if there's one hearing which has happened or two hearings which have happened, you just have to inform IBBI in this, which is the next hearing date. And if there is any delay, you can just mention that. Then again, if you file an application for liquidation, attach the minutes wherein the liquidation was approved, what was the NCLT filing number, and what was the total CIRP cost. So all these are very basic details which you need to, even in a state specific, these are not a lot of information which you are providing, but this is important information. All this is the most important information which you need to provide to IBBI, which will come in a very concise manner. Again, there's a section 4 in this, wherein if you have conducted any meeting in a month, all you need to write is the date of the meeting, what was your meeting number, and attach a copy of the minutes and the voting result. So you do not have to basically write in your MIS that what all happened in the minutes. You just have to attach them. When was the date? So, things have become very simplified with these forms. Again, in your next section, where what are the details which are filed. So you can add the rows and what is the outcome of each. So, and they will remain editable in subsequent months. So if there any change has happened in subsequent months, that is something which you will be able to edit. Once you fill the CP5 form, you will be able to download it. So you know what information you have provided to IBBI. And in the next month, you would have the option to edit the information already given. And last is your section 6, wherein the disclosures which you had to make to IPAs, now you will make it to IBBI, wherein if there is any cost disclosure or any relationship disclosure which has to be made. So this is the sum total of your CP5 form, which is something which you have to do a monthly reporting. If there is any reason for deviation, you can mention the reasons. So this, please remember, what is the most important line which has been mentioned in this, that any details of the previous stage which have already been completed, this information will be automatically populated based on the details which have been submitted by the IP in the previous months. However, the IP will have the ability to edit and update this historical information in case any corrections are needed, so as to maintain a record of the entire CIRP in the current form. So primarily, the CP5 form which is there is something which is on a monthly basis. It may seem long, but actually most of the information is either a drop down or in radio buttons or either in a yes or no or providing the details. Maximum what you're doing is providing the minutes of the meeting, because now you are supposed to have meetings every month. If you've had it, please upload the minutes, the date and the meeting number. Upload what has happened in short, in brief, what is the issue of an IEA. So that is something which you can inform, and your cost disclosure and your relationship disclosure. So this is something which is, I think I come to the end of my presentation. So it is like a synopsis of what we have, done regarding the particular forms. The changes are a lot, actually. The kind of work we had to do in completing the compliances was a lot. And now, like you said, as you can see on your screen, so many forms. This IP1 we don't have to fill anymore. The CIRP6 we don't have to fill anymore. The CIRP1 and 2 is gone. CP1, which is not a very complicated form. Again, CP3 and 4 have been reduced to 1. CP2, which is again not a very complicated form. CIRP3 is yes, 3 and 3B is because about the it is important to give the information about the plan, which has already been submitted before the NCLT. So the proposed changes will have a lot of effect on reducing the compliance burden on the insolvency professionals. Before I end, now I'd like to take up just a second. I will stop share and share the paper, the suggestions which IPA had said that they want to give to IBBI. So basically, the suggestions which IPA has said they want to give, that basically it's linked to Aadhaar and DSC. So maybe sending a OTP or registered email and phone number is something also which they wanted should be added. Also, that the CP1, their heading should be properly done. So CP1 should be the details of the public announcement, CP2 details of IM and RFRP, CP3 details of approval of the plan should be there. CP3 is actually it is the same. 3 and 3B is one is when you file the application, other is when you get the order of that application filed. So that is there. IPA suggested that CP5 may be named CIRP information. CP4 may be named as details of PUFE and avoidance. Also, that let there be one form and rest be made part of it on an applicable basis on event. I think Sir has said that let CP3 and 3B be named as CP3 and 4. Since 10th is the last date, IBBI must be technically competent to accept 95% of the forms on the 10th. Otherwise, it will crash or slow down. Present modifications should be allowed. Yes, or modifications are anyways without penalty. So this is something which is editable, which IBBI has written in their discussion paper itself. Subsequent fields will also be auto-populated. These are, I think, auto-population is already there, which is being mentioned in the paper. Also, it will be integrated with NCLT and MCA. That is something that is the next step, I believe, which IBBI is in the process of doing, of integrating this entire system with the MCA, with the NCLT. And I think there is a platform which IBBI is in the process of making. So actually all this, I believe, is a part of that endeavor, because wherein these forms, also a lot of information which we will provide will go into their database, and they will be able to actually get a lot of information on their fingertips, the IP and IBBI both, and it will help them in integrating it with the NCLT and the MCA data. Also, this is filing may twice may be reduced to only once. Party-wise details, I agree, should not be required to be filed, because it's something which we are anyways doing. So there's something, it can be reduced. And CP5, Sir had said that minutes may be dropped. But sir, minutes, if we just information, all we have, because we've already drafted the minutes, all we need to do is just upload them. So I think it is very, I also feel as an insolvency professional, we have to ensure that, I think for us also, it's very important to ensure that we are giving the correct information to IBBI every time. So, I feel happier when I provided the minutes to IBBI and IPA. So at least the information which we have actually, what work we have done in that month would automatically go to IBBI. So this is what had been suggestions which had been made by Sir, by IPA. Anyone else would anyone like me to repeat anything in the presentation? Or if there is anything you want me to go back to, I'm more than happy to do the same.
Pooja ji, one thing, the missed it while talking, that there should be one remark column also, because many a times, you need to say something which is not inbuilt in the form. That is also our one of the suggestion.
Yes, so that is, I think, the reason somewhere we've mentioned that it will be there in many cases. It is there in a lot of forms wherein you can give, if there is any delay, the reasons. In fact, there's one more option of not applicable. There are many cases wherein we can write, but you see, there is if yes, please add remarks, which is there in most of the in the forms which is there. So that is something also which we can add. And also, if I think another, we have an option of adding any other details, I think, which is given in all the forms, wherein in the attachments also, we can mention if we want to give any information, any document we want to provide with the remarks. So that is also given in the end. So that is something if we feel we want to add, and without just saying details that, this needs to be filled or this needs to be uploaded, anything else which we feel we want to provide is something which, which is there in the end. I think that like a progress report also. So this is, I think, left it open to us. If people, some IPs want to give a lot of information for them, this, a lot of information will be able to upload in the end. But for those, wherein they just want to give a yes or a no or a button remark, that is also, which is possible now. There was a point of time we had so much information to provide. It had become very much cumbersome for all insolvency professionals, actually. Anything else, sir? Anyone else wants to make any comment, any other thing?
I want to ask one thing. In
Yes,
3B form,
Yes,
is there
ma'am.
a date of receipt of order is there? Because
Yes, ma'am.
sometimes it is not uploaded.
Yes, that is something that is very important. So this is another thing. So 4 or 5 things which I discussed in the last discussion paper, where there were some comments which had been given. So the comments, I'll just like to recap what the comments had been given by in the last round table which I had had. So the first comment which they said, what over here it is mentioned, which in CP3B is within 7 days of the getting of the order. But actually, it should also be from the date of receipt of the order. That is very, very important. So
Yes.
one thing again, like I said, I'll just come to it from CP1 onwards. From CP1 onwards, they said that this is within when you file the application of your report certifying the COC. But there are cases when the COC is reconstituted again and again. So will we be able to update the information? That is something which is also important. So that is something we can give, feedback to IBBI that if you have filing the report again and you're reconstituting the COC, then the further dates we should have the option of adding the rows. When was the next date when you reconstituted the COC? So that is something which was, feedback which we had received last time. Then again, another feedback which I had received was for this section 3, for the application for liquidation. Here it was mentioned the voting for resolution plan. Here it actually should be voting for liquidation instead of who assented, who dissented, who abstained. Because this is fine when you are saying voting for resolution plan in the application for approval of a plan. But in the section for liquidation, if you are filing a liquidation application, this should actually be voting for liquidation. Who all assented, who dissented, who abstained. So that is one thing which came out from the discussion paper, which last week. And in the CP3, there was this another issue, which like us, which same ma'am, the CP3B, that which is within 7 days of the order being uploaded on the website of NCLT. So instead of, because many times an order is passed, but it is actually uploaded. I mean, there was a recent case which I got, which the orders were of March, and I got to know in April, because that is when I got a mail from NCLT. And I mean, that was when you're appointed from the panel, you don't even know which case you're going to be appointed in. So for compliance purposes, from an RP, IP, liquidator point of view, the relevant date would be the order. You get to know whether the NCLT is uploaded on the NCLT website or you have got it. So these were the 2 or 3, feedbacks which I had received. And of course, that feedback which we had received was removing this preferential, the details of the PUFE transaction, just that totals should also be mentioned. And there was no need for these details which had been given related party-wise. So these are the only feedback which we had received. Another feedback which I had received when we were discussing the CP5 form was wherein you have the details of all IAs filed with NCLT. So at this stage, it was mentioned that they said only important IAs should be mentioned, because there are many sometimes cases where you do not have all the details of what all IAs are mentioned. But I think as an RP, you would have the details of the IAs, at least the IA number and the filing number. And of course, we should have the option if you don't have an information. So we should have the option to skip. It's not that the form would not be filled if there is no, sometimes we do not have the entire details. So we should have the option of not applicable, or maybe skip those portions which we do not have the information. So this is there. Anything else? you would like to, anyone would want to discuss
I
in
have a
the
question.
forms,
Madam,
please?
I am Amir
Please.
Hamza. I want to
Yes.
discuss regarding, what about settlement of account before constitution of COC? What?
So that comes in closure. So when that happens, so for as you can see your CP3, so there are three 3A. So there is one was, like I said, when this is your closure, right? So when an application is closure filed, so whether the application that you're talking about 12A. So 12A, yes. So this is the section which is there, section 4 in the form CP3A. So this is it. What were the terms of the withdrawal? Whether it is filed before constitution of COC. If no, then, and then what was the date of the COC approval and who are the members and the distribution of voting share. So, but then if you say a yes, so you do not need to fill the form 6 and 7 subsequently. So primarily this is the section 4 CP3A if an application for closure is filed.
Madam, I have a question on cost
Yes.
disclosures in CP5.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Whether this cost is approved CIRP cost or actual cost incurred by the RP.
This is CIRP costs. So what
CIRP
they are
cost,
saying is they see cumulative figures to be updated by IP
yes.
every month.
Whether
See,
it is,
I'll tell you why. I think where this is coming from, because earlier we never used to have monthly COCs. Now what has happened? Now we, as per the regulations, we're supposed to have a COC every month, or maybe if it has been once in a quarter. But now, every COC, you are supposed to give a details of the CIRP costs and place it before the COC for their approval every month. That was not something which was there earlier, which has happened in just a few months back. So now, because if you're anyways placing it before the COC, what is the cost cumulative figures to be updated by IP? I think this will may be a little problematic every month, because it is a possibility that every month, if you're having a meeting once in a quarter and till that it is approved, that CIRP cost, how will you include it over there? So this is a section which is given, which needs to be, I mean, I think you all can give your feedback to IBBI about this cost disclosures to be made every month.
or IBBI should clear it, whether it is actual cost incurred by the RP. Maybe it will be approved next month or so.
Yes, that is there. So that is something, and if I would advise every IP. I think I have tried to give a synopsis of the forms. What are the changes which have been made? What needs to be filled now? What does not need to be filled now? So my advice would be to actually, do give your feedback to IBBI. That is very important. We come to forums, we discuss the issues, but we do not give the feedback to IBBI. So that is important. I believe the last date is 1st of July to provide the feedback. I think you need to go on the IBBI's portal, go to public comments and select this particular discussion paper. And if any comments you have, please do give. It will be, I think that will be for the benefit of everybody. I think that is the certain benefit of everybody. So any other questions, anything you would want me to repeat or anything, please.
That's what. Thank you, ma'am. In fact, I endorse the view of Amir sir, which certain wordings could be, if
Yes.
added could clear, some sort of ambiguity. For example,
Yes.
we cannot, CIRP process is never a templated one, every
Yes.
case is different. So basically there will be a lot of fighting between the financial
Right.
credit days of approvals and other things. So therefore,
Yes.
we will closely work on that particular thing. We'll also keep you posted, madam, so that you can also-
Please. Yes, because that is important, sir. Because it is important for us to give our feedback. That is important. And, because if we do not give the correct feedback, so there are 4 or 5 things which have been brought to my knowledge. I mean, when I was having the discussion last time with the IPAs, and these were very important, feedback which we received. But yes, I think cost disclosure was something, because we right now have to give it once when the actual process is over. Now, doing it on a monthly basis, of course, every month now we have to place before the COC what are the costs which are incurred, what is approved, what is not approved. But it may become a little cumbersome. That is one point which is there, with reference to this particular reporting which is there.
And another factor is when it comes to real estate projects, similarly aggrieved people will be there in numbers, in hundreds.
Yes. Yes.
For example, same cause of action, same relief, 100 years. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That could be a challenge. There should be some via media out of this, some sort of, I don't know how to put it across. Another thing is when it comes to, we have almost 14 NCLTs. Sorry to say, no standard in certain judgments. For example, delayed acceptance above 90 days. The poor IP will believe that, okay, this is closed, the claim is closed, suddenly something pops up.
Yeah.
So things, I don't know how this is, but the good thing about the CIRP, this thing is it's editable and auto-populated. So
Yes, it's editable. Most of the fields are editable, auto-populated, and it is actually going to be reducing a lot of compliances. There are no two ways about it, because we had 9 forms which we were giving to IBBI. We had separate monthly. Every month we were giving to IPA, details of the information, and sometimes those details went into hundreds of pages. It is a fact. So yes, these changes are very much positive. Yeah. So that is, we can try our best to, give our feedback also, so that the final form, when it actually shapes up, is something which is for the benefit of all the insolvency professionals. And yes, they actually feel happy. So, but then again, like every form which we are filling at the 10th of next month, we have a lot of time. It's not that, I made my RFRP today, and within 4 days or 5 days or 7 days, I have to make my disclosures, I have to fill the forms. No, it is in the 10th of the next month, which is there. We have enough time. And
That's
not, yes,
a positive thing, because otherwise in between you miss out things. If it is
yes,
event plus 7 days, event plus 5 days, that's a
yes.
And
True.
but I was just wondering, madam, in this case, when it comes to the ultimate user, according to me, subject to correction, ultimate user of this database could be the IBBA coming out with some logical conclusions or something like that. So when it comes to editable things, don't you think that it is giving a window for IP to or the IPs to to rectify their mistakes earlier done?
Yes, there is a route to actually rectify the mistakes. And the fact is, but what information you have submitted to IBBI is something which is you're signing by the end of every month, you're signing on that form and you are downloading it. So it's not that you don't know what you have given information earlier, and you always have the option to modify it. Of course, the lesser mistakes we make is much better for us, lesser disciplinary actions we'll have. So it is very important to give the right information. But right now, very less information needs to be given. The discussion paper seems very long, but in actuality, there is not much information which is there. Most of the things are you're uploading. You're uploading your RFRP, you're uploading your IM, you're uploading the minutes, you are, uploading any relevant information or documents you want to provide. You are, uploading the details of the application, but you are not writing all those details. I mean, if you know what I mean, that otherwise every month there were, at least I spent at least 4 to 5 days making my MIS to submit to my IPA, and then remembering which form was due in IBBI. So we've all developed a systems of reminders. So hopefully, that is something which will stop now. It's a very positive step from my end. I feel it's a very positive step, and I genuinely feel that most of the suggestions which were given have been taken into cognizance by IBBI. So it's a very, very positive step. Rest, of course, is let's see how it actually pans out. That's important.
In earlier regime, the best way to see whether you have missed out a form is to just file it, and at the end of AFA, when you seek AFA, IBBI or IPA will come out saying that you have not done this form, that form, this form. So you would open the book and read and do, all those things. There's one way of, hopefully.
One suggestion is, Pooja ji, can you close down your this
Yes,
PPT
yes,
now,
yes. I'm
so that
stopping the share.
we can
Yes,
talk face
yes,
to face with each other?
yes, yes.
Yeah, can I requested earlier also, Mr. Santan, with your permission, can you, since you have been doing it a lot, and now we expect you to be from our side more and less from the IBBI side.
Definitely. Yes, sir. Definitely.
In that context, what changes you would like to be proposed and put in that particular discussion form? Can you share that proposed changes with we management, so that we can share it
Yes.
with we
We
IPs?
will definitely, sir. I will do that, and I
Yeah.
genuinely feel, of course, with the most of the changes. One was with reference to the monthly reporting of the cost disclosures. Like I said, whether it is a CIRP cost, your monthly cost is something which may become a little cumbersome by the end of every month to provide also. We can have some reduction in the avoidance details in the form which we fill, because the application is something which would already be giving. Besides this, I think the forms have been truthfully very well made. Besides, yes, but we should have the option, if we are reconstituting a COC, then we should have the option of editing further and adding the rows which is there. If we are issuing an RFRP again, so again we should have the option of informing because right now that is not there. So every time when we were editing a form, if I'd filled a CIRP 5 and I again wanted to edit it, I had to pay fees, assuming it used to assume that I have not filled my first CIRP 5 only. So whenever I wanted to edit, what used to happen was, by the end of it, if there was a new RFRP which had been issued, so we were not having the option of, without payment of the fees, to actually fill the details. Now that is something which will be available. So just a clarity needed from IBBI, that every time, if we are issuing a new RFRP, or sometimes there are cases where you're doing the EY process all over again. So would we have the option to amend or maybe add a row if a new EOI has been added, a new Form G has been issued, new RFRP has been added? So all these things is something, that some clarity is needed with reference to the same. Rest, truthfully, I feel that these forms have been made very well.
What we suggested of giving heading to the each form. What's your opinion for that? And another thing is that this uploading creates a lot of problem with digital signature, and many a times with Aadhaar number also. What you feel, should some sort of the OTP not given to the IP's
The
mobile number or something?
OTP is a very good idea, sir. That is something which can be done with OTP is okay. But with also with reference to, I think you've written CP3 and 3B to be named separately. Actually, they are the same. I mean, where you're filing an application for approval,
Yes.
that's when you get the order, that's the 3B. That is the only separate thing. That is, we don't really need to do that. Otherwise, I think separate naming can be done. Separate naming can definitely be done, and wherein which names which are easier for
And
everyone. Yes, yes,
representing that particular form, because that in that case,
right.
remembering CP
Yes,
1, 2, 3, 4 becomes a little
yes,
bit difficult. And in any case,
right.
we're thankful that you're accepting our most of the suggestions, and deleting one or two only. That's
No, not at all, sir. I will also be making my, I'll make a synopsis of the suggestions, and of course, provide it to IPA also. And so that we can, all be on the same page. I think all of us, or we want that the problems of IP should be reduced. This is the only intent, that, we were actually facing a lot of issues with reference to compliances and the deadlines. So these were the two main challenges for an insolvency professional. Hopefully we will be able to address at least one of them, right, sir, because of this.
great. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So anyone has wants anything else to be discussed or anything in details? Do you have your own views? I think this is important. I think we all are insolvency professionals. I was here just to maybe give a synopsis of what the forms are. So if anyone has any other idea, I think we all can. I think IPA is here, so they will be able to, this is the right forum wherein we can actually, voice the problems and inform IBBI further. Anyone, sir, has any other questions or clarity? Any
Can
part of the presentation?
I want to suggest one thing. Is
Yes,
there
ma'am.
a possibility of getting the reminder from IBBI for filing of this form on 10? Like we get on GST and income tax portal, that whether you have filed or the due date is this likewise.
Yes.
It should have been available for CRP 7 actually.
Yes, no, that was there because the CIRP 7 for all cases, the due dates were different. So if I was handling 4 cases for the due date for the CIRP, each 7 would have been different. In this particular case, at least now we all have one date, which is the 10th of the next month. So we know. So we all know by the 10th of every month we have to fill the CP5 and all of course, the subsequent also forms which need to be filled. So I'm sure they can start sending a reminder from, we can advise them to do that. Definitely.
Let KIPF start doing for its members, and we at IPA shall also start doing it, because this is the age of artificial intelligence, and things can be crop up very easily.
Absolutely. There
There is a
is
question
there's
from N. Kumar sir. N. Kumar
problems of
sir has
identity
raised a
tools.
question.
Sir, madam, apart from CIRP forms, there should be time limit for approval of resolution plan, say 3 months or 6 months. So I will tell you one example. In one of my matter, I gave resolution plan on May 2021. It was approved only on July 1st, 2022. That too, the day on which the judge retired. It also raised a lot of controversy and question. And in another matter now, it is a home buyer matter where I gave resolution plan during November 2023. Now only after so much request begging, the order is received on 18th June, and I don't know further how many months make it approved. So there should be.
Yeah, so this is, I think, a problem which is a genuine, I think, problem with constraints with the NCLT benches because there were lesser number of benches earlier, which is there. And I think any case during the COVID times, at that point of time, there was such a backlog that I think a lot of orders were postponed for at least 2 to 3 years. But now, I think recently, at least NCLT Delhi is now making an effort to take on a priority all the plan approval applications right now. And they are making an effort that all the plan approval applications get heard and get resolved. So yes, that was a very, very genuine constraint which was there about.
No,
but then this
and
is,
one more point, madam. In the cost
Yes.
list also,
Yes.
the agenda with the resolution plan, it is coming under ordinary list. In the very first hearing only, it is given under priority list or top 10 list. But in the rest of the case, it is coming in the ordinary list, and it is not reaching also due to
No,
time constraint.
It is an issue, sir. It is an issue that there are now so many pending applications due to which the main application of the resolution plan was getting delayed. I think that is really improving to a very large extent. I don't know, in Delhi it is. I don't know about the other benches, sir. But this is, I think, the first step which IBB has taken for our compliances which we have to make. I think there are so many external factors over which we do not have a control over, wherein we can just make our suggestions, which I think all of us do at various forums. But the fact is, I think this is with reference to only the forms which are there. Otherwise, if we start talking about the genuine problems, I think, which we are facing as an insolvency professional, we can go on for, I think, 4 to 5 hours at least, when we only talk about so many issues which are genuinely there. So here, I think this is the first step, maybe in the right direction, at least a reduction of the compliances which we need to give to IBBI and IPI. And I think it's a very maybe small part, but it's something which troubles us IPs a lot. The reason became because a lot of disciplinary actions have been taken for late submission of forms of incorrect details provided. So I think this will be just the first step wherein, some of our issues may be addressed from IBBI.
Yeah, issues with judiciary and IBBI can, I don't think IBBI other than
Yes, IBBI had no jurisdiction for that.
more than taking up with Ministry of Corporate Affairs, IBBI has hardly much of a say in the NCLT.
No, they don't have any say.
But then I understand last day in the NCLT Kochi, learned member was saying that we have to hear this. We are supposed to report to the government. So therefore, there is a push and pull from either side. But then evolution is happening.
Any other queries regarding the forms which is there, would want me to address?
I think when somebody gives an amazing presentation, it will be very difficult there could be only two things, either intersect or tangent. In this case, everything intersected. So probably there'll not be much of a doubts.
Thank you so very much, sir.
I think Sean.
Thank you, sir. Shall I?
Please, you can.
Thank you, sir. Let me thank each and everyone who are present here on time to have a very vibrant session on the discussion on recent papers, recent changes which IBBI proposed to do. We all know that we are living in a world where the information is in overflow and the data redundancy is happening. We do multiple reportings, and we feel at certain point of time what actually we are doing. And it's a good that IBA came with the discussion points. Let me thank Pooja Madam first, because Madam came first, delivered us a very beautiful lecture, in the sense that she made us very clear that what all we need to update and regarding the MIS. Because normally what happens is that we are being caught hold of by the IBBI, or put the regulator will be running after us when we are not complying with the same. So Madam reminded us that we should have a proper MIS, do things properly. Because we know that for the IBC system to exist, there should be a coherent regulator. And regulator, of course, they have to comply with several requirements and change the things. Thank you, Madam, once again. Be with us and to enlighten our thoughts. For this meeting,
Sir,
for this meeting,
yeah, one thing I would like to share before we end our meeting, conclude your session first.
Yes. So for this meeting to happen, it's several minds, several people coming together. So as I already mentioned, we have people from different parts of the country. It's a pan-India meeting, I would like to say. And for this to happen, let me thank Manoj Kumar Anand, sir. It's a life partner of Kerala Insolvency Professional Forum. We would like to call him as the big brother. Whenever we conduct any program, he is the first person who will call up and tell, Sean, you go ahead. Shankar, you go ahead. Pretty Joy, you go ahead. Thank you, sir, for partnering with us and for making this meeting more lively and making more vibrant. We know that the Insolvency Professional Agency is one of the pillars of the IBC ecosystem. Let me thank G.S. Narasimha Prasad, sir, the Managing Director of IPA, ICMA, for partnering with us with free hands and ensuring that please do the programs. That was the strong support which made this meeting to happen. Again, I would like to thank Gyan Chandra Mishra, sir. Gyan Chandra Mishra, sir, is present here right now. Because
actually, what happened? We have a talk with him. Most of you are having some restriction of 100 people to be get enrolled there.
Right.
He was not able to do that. But what message he has said to me, that I would like to convey to my IP brothers. That is why I said, give me 2 minutes before we close the meeting.
Right. I already told Manoj sir, Narasimha sir, I thanked. Also the IBC Online. IBC Online is a learning platform. They share the judgments. Also, they also partnered with us. I thank the team of IBC Online for the same. And before all, I should like to thank our own chairman, Shankar sir. He had a 100-day plan. And one of his 100-day plan is to have more online meetings. Why don't we partner with insolvency professional agencies? Why we are not partnering with this professional institutes? Because that is the important thing. That should be the first step any professional institution must take. So thank you, Shankar sir, for taking this lead. And also one apology from my part and our team part, because what happened is that we initially planned for lesser number. In between, we changed the Zoom subscription, but what happened is that due to a technical difficulty, we cannot make it happen. Kindly excuse those who could not partner with the same, and kindly excuse all those who faced any technical difficulty on account of this particular a technical aspect.
Sir, I will share my presentation with you all, so you can share the presentation with anyone. So anyone who reads it, I think we should will have an idea of the forms. So what I will do is I will share the presentation with you, so with IIPA and with everyone and with Mr. Anand. So you can share it with everybody. Those who were not here, I'm sure with the PPT they should be able to understand what are the changes which have been made. I'll just share it within 2 minutes.
So thoughtful, man.
Thank you, madam.
And also the recording must be available, right? Recording.
Yeah, recording will be available by IBC law. In IBC law website it will be available.
It will be available in our website also.
I request one thing.
In our YouTube channel also.
Right.
Yes.
Let me interrupt. I request each and everyone, those who are not registered, please do register. Mention your name and the registration number. Thank
Sean,
you, and
Manoj
thank
sir
you.
wants to speak. Yeah, Manoj sir wants to speak something. Manoj
Yes,
sir.
Over to Manoj, sir. Over to Manoj, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, giving me such an importance, giving me time and everything. But, thing I would like to say is that for which I invited Mr. Gyanji here. Actually, what is that? We are holding a seminar in Delhi. That is on 12th and 13th of July, in Delhi. That is called related to insolvency professions only. Last time we hold this seminar at Singapore, and this time we are holding it in Delhi. That will be an international seminar. It's a coincidence that today, if we would like to, subscribe for that, the fees for that is 10,000 rupees for individual subscription. And if we were giving some early bird discount, and today is the last day to subscribe for that. And if you subscribe today, then you will get a discount of 2,500 for CA members. And if you have a more than 5 groups, then you will get another discount of 10%. So this is, I would like to, convey to my members that if they want to attend that particular seminar, we call it as a Resolve India. And, you can save a few bucks against that, around 2,500 or maybe 3,250 if you, if you subscribe for that today. This is, I want to say, let's make that particular event also a success, because when we are having it last time in Singapore, it was a very great success. And at that time, cost was very high. But this time in Delhi, it won't cost you much. It will cost you hardly 6,750 rupees. If you do today, or maximum 10,000 rupees. So this is the only message I have for the people, my IP brothers, for their information. That's all.
Let me call our chairman, Shankar Panikar, sir, for the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, all of you, especially Pooja ma'am. You have made a very wonderful, lucid presentation. I'm sure you'll be embarrassed when everyone is, appreciating you. But then,
Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you, everyone, for your kind words. They really mean a lot to me. Thank you.
PPT shows the efforts which you have put into prepare, when it comes to that, shows the exposure which you have in the relevant field. In fact, it shows how many cases you would have handled to have such sort of. Thank you so much. Manojji, IPA and IBC laws. Thank you so much. We look forward to this as a regular exercise. Soon we'll be having one with Ashish Makhija and AIIPA. And I would want IPA to partner with us, and of course IBC laws. Thank you so much. Altogether a great feeling. First is always, first of this kind is always a, matter of memory. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you all. We conclude for the time being. Those who want the presentation, please share and your email ID in the post. We will not do it immediately. The due course we will mail the PPT.
One more thing,
Sean sir, I am having all the email IDs, all the people who
Yes,
registered. Yes. I'll be sharing. I already have the presentation. Okay. Yeah, then I'll be doing that.
Pranab sir will take care of the same. So
I'll take care of that. And for CP, you'll all will be getting the acknowledgement just post this event. Yeah, you'll be getting your acknowledgement.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll share the recordings also. Thank you so much, friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.